Hi, this is Jack from Tritium Soft talking to you today about ChangeUnits2, our scientific calculator. So in ChangeUnits2, when you first open it, it comes up to this Select Units screen here. And you can see there's two kinds of lists. So if you look at the top button is a close button. If we close it, we go back out here. And we could enter things manually if we wanted to. And they'll work. But for most people, they're going to want to use the list. So if I press on this welding girl over here on the right, I come back into the select units, and that's what I recommend is a select units feature here. Now you can see the next one down, you have long form list, and what that means is these are written out like angstroms versus just a symbol. If I press that button again, I get an engineering list. And on the engineering list, these are in engineering style units where they're abbreviated, like cm for centimeter or m for meter. So for most people, they might want to stay in the long form list. And even some engineers, they'll be like, I'm not 100% sure what this symbol is in this context. But, you know, for a lot of people, though, if you're trying to match, we have both. So going back in the long form list, you can see we have a very long list going from 1D, 2D, 3D. So volume, area, speed, flow rate, gravity force. So we call gravity force, like for instance, if you're measuring pounds versus kilograms. So in science, kilograms aren't technically convertible between kilogram and pound, but in practice, kilograms and pounds are just fine to go back and forth. 2.2 pounds per kilogram. A lot of people know that. In terms of science, they like to talk about newtons versus pounds, and they try to get rid of pounds altogether. But in practical America, kilograms and pounds are very common, and so they're very common here too. So if we go down to pressure, we have bar, atmosphere, and then torr for torricelli. We got a little thing here on horsepower and watts. We have energy, such as BTU, therms, kilowatt hours, and even megatons TNT if you wanted to look up some of the Wikipedia pages about nuclear explosions that have happened. When you're trying to understand, well, how much energy are they talking about? You can throw those numbers in here and compare them in terms of therms or pounds of coal. And so it's a lot easier for people to get their head around when they have that as a unit, because they actually use that on Wikipedia for some articles. And then we have down here kinetic energy. So studying, like a speeding car, how much energy is in that, or foot per second impact, such as like a bullet hitting a target or a ball falling off a building or something like that. Then we also have temperature, and we also have time. So if you want to know, how many minutes in a week or how many seconds in a month, you can do that here. We have a time forecast, so we know the current time, and we can forecast, well, what time will it be somewhere else when it's 9 o'clock in the morning here? Or we can go the other way and say, well, if it's 9 o'clock in the morning somewhere else, what time is it going to be where I am? And if you take the phone and fly across the country, it's going to get the right answer again, because it knows where you are. And so the calculation, you don't have to change any of that stuff. It's keeping track of you in terms of what the area, when you click into that cell phone tower, it updates what time your local time is, and so it'll give you good numbers. So it's a really convenient thing. You might be somebody who travels between New York and California, and you can use that to make meetings in Japan and actually make the meeting Then we also have currency down here. So we have these currency conversions, whether you want to convert between dollars and baht or baht and dollars. You can just see, well, what is the rate that they're offering me at the money exchange. You can throw that in there, and you can find out what compare the values of different currencies and use them to make decisions. And then we have this math section down here, which is really interesting. We have everything from trigonometry to prime numbers, factor, fractions. We have a really interesting fraction button that will take decimal points and try to make fractions out of them. A very interesting thing. We have a bunch of physics things such as boiling points and gas constants and different interesting information. We have a free fall calculator, so if you were on top of, like, for instance, Coronado Bridge, and you wanted to know, well, if I drop something, how fast will it be going when it hits the water? Or if I want to know, like, well, how long, like, I want to parachute off it, how much time is it going to take me to hit the water down there? You can figure it out based on the number of feet, the number of meters, or how much time. For instance, well, if something fell for 3 seconds, how far did it go? You can figure all that stuff out there. So really good for parachuting or whatever. We have density, such as like lead versus something else, water or something like that. We have torque, some construction stuff, and then we also have some shotgun stuff down here that might be interesting. So for instance, if I was going to press this lead shot, I can say, well, this is 9 ounces of lead shot. That's a lot. But say 2 ounces, that's pretty common. So 2 ounces of lead shot, I can say, depending on which number shot I have. So in shotgun, the lower number is usually bigger, and here you're seeing the shot size like 0.15. That's a big piece of shot, and so 2 ounces of that is 172 pellets versus a number 9, 1100 pellets. Now a number 9 up here would be what you would use to go shoot a clay pigeon or something. And so it's a little random, but it's here for a reason. It's because it's useful. And so there's people, if you're trying to compare, well, which number shot that I want to buy to go shoot clay pigeons, this can make a difference here. And this is why in competitions they limit what you can use, because more pellets, not only is it might not go as far, but you really can have a big advantage in some kind of contest. So we'll talk to you on the next video. Thanks for watching.